Let's be honest. Troy let one slip away. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. All right, a little bit of a bonus episode. Wasn't going to record it at 12:30 last night. I think I turned over at 12:27 and was out cold by 12:30. So we'll do a little two-segment episode here. Today's regular episode focuses on Mike Desimo standing up for all the bowl games that nobody seems to care about. Good for him. And ODU playing USF and Sunbelt Hoops tips off. So be on the lookout for that. And then on Thursday, did the crossover with Spencer McLaughlin with Locked On Ducks. We talked a lot of JMU and Oregon. All right. Troy falls to Jacksonville State 17-13 in a kind of a weird ball game. Disappointing as well. Cam Cook, the nation's leading rusher for Jack State, was out due to injury. And Tae Meadows has decided to hit the transfer portal. We're going to get to that in a little bit. I hope it works out for Tae Meadows, but one's got to be interested in knowing what he's thinking. Okay. So this was just an odd ball game. Jacksonville State outgained Troy 273-217. Troy outgained Jack State in the first half, it should be mentioned. Troy had a pair of turnovers. One was execution, and one seemed to be a bad play call. I wasn't understanding that. Troy had a chance as they were driving and would have converted a fourth down, but Peyton Higgins' knee touched the ground, and he was ruled a couple yards short, which was the correct call. Refs got one right. But if you go back and you look at Troy's drives, they did not have much offense at all. All right. First one, 3 plays, 5 yards. Second drive, 6 plays, 19 yards. They went for it on fourth down. All right. Next drive, 6 plays, 19 yards. All right. They got a field goal after a 9-play, 25-yard drive, and that's after the Jacksonville State fake punt, which was a good play call, poorly executed. Should have been a first down. Receiver dropped the ball. That's not coaching. That's executing. All right. And then they did get a field goal, 11 plays, 58 yards, 8.5 minutes. Why do I think maybe that was their best drive? Let me see. That was in the second quarter. So I maybe screwed that up. So let me see in the second quarter when they got that field goal. Because I thought, no. All right. So I thought they got the field goal after the long kickoff return. They did not. So that's their best drive of the game. They got it to 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville State 15. And the announcer was saying, they called it. Troy's got to get this in the end zone. All right. And they didn't. They needed to make that ball game 17-7 at that time. And they could not. And they only added a field goal. All right. In the second half, their drives were worse. All right. First drive in the second half, 3 plays, no yards. They got a field goal attempt because they did have that long kickoff return after Jacksonville State made it 13-10. Let's see here. Garrison kicks off 64 yards. Epps returns it 79 yards to the Jacksonville State 20. So they had 1st and 10 on the 15, 1st and 10 on the 20, and they came away with a grand total of 3 points because they went backwards on this one. And that may have made the difference, right? When you're just even mentally, when you're kicking a 39-yard field goal versus a 49-yard field goal. Plenty of leg on it, but just missed. All right. Scott Taylor Renfro just missed it. Just off to the right. And that field goal ends up being big because if you're down 1 and you're driving, it's a whole different story a couple of times. All of a sudden, are we going for it? Let's see where they got it on 4th down. I don't know if they're kicking a field goal there, because if he's already made a 49-yard field goal, let's see where the turns it over on downs. Yeah, pass short to Higgins. That would have been from the 27. So that would have been shorter. That's a 44-yard kick. Do they kick it there, right? And then they get the 3 and out from Jacksonville State, and it's 3.5 minutes to go on the Troy 33, and he's throwing it into double coverage. Maybe we think about methodically going down the field, because you don't need that much, right? You just need 40 yards or so to be in field goal range. 40, 45 yards. You don't need 67 yards to score a touchdown like they did. Still not understanding that play call. I don't know if he went to the wrong guy or not, but he just kind of threw it up for grabs, and he had a safety over the top, and I think the corner made the catch. So it was not a good decision. I didn't like the play call. Seemed to force it. Maybe they thought they could catch Jacksonville State off guard. Because defensively, Troy played pretty well. Just when you do nothing defensively, when you do nothing offensively, it's very difficult to, stay fresh defensively. The defense gave up, 10 points in the second half. But Jack State, they give up 4. They get 4 and think this is down, right? I think this is including that ball game. They went down to 408 yards. I think they were closer to 419 yards, and they didn't even get to 300 in this ball game. So the defense played pretty well. They did pass it for 173 yards and only rushed it for 100. Let me see what they did that in the second half, because I feel like they did a better job rushing it in the second half. In the first half, they rushed it for a grand total of 21 yards. In the second half, they rushed it for 79. All right, including one drive where they converted a 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 8 for a first down. They could have, and which led to a touchdown. That could have, instead of making it 17-13, Troy gets a stop there. It's 13-13. Got a very different ball game, unfortunately. All right. So quickly, we talked a little bit about the transfer portal and TJ Finley. And I'm all for the transfer portal, and I'm all for these guys getting paid. I'd like a few guardrails, but let's talk about, and again, I don't know anything about his family. And again, this is not about someone getting high 6 or 7 figures, right? I'm a big believer that, you could leave school with a couple $100,000 in the bank, and your life is pretty much set as long as you have a job. You have your nest egg way before retirement. So let's talk about this, because that was disappointing not to see Tae Meadows on the field last night. We'll talk about that right after I tell you about Wayfair and FanDuel. The holidays always show up faster than we expect. And if you're still putting together gifts, last-minute decor, or getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final season touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need and fast. Wayfair truly is your one-stop shopping for everything. With decor, furniture, kitchen essentials, and gifts for every style and every budget. All delivered quickly and easily. Their selection is huge. Bedding, decor, kitchen gear, kids' room updates. I was able to find everything in one place. We got shelves back there, and this desk here is both from Wayfair. So easy to go shopping by style. Helps you pick pieces that actually fit your home instead of guessing. Get last-minute hosting essentials, gifts for all of your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. If I can put it together, you can put it together. And FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. Receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props updates as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. Also important to know all the information. Would have been interesting to know if I knew Cam Cook and Tae Meadows weren't playing last night, I probably would have gone Troy much bigger than I would have. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your teams every day. I'm going to see if we can get a quick lift in and then go to Orange Theory. We may not post that may not post this podcast until I get back from Orange Theory. Let the other stuff play a little bit. All right, so Tae Meadows, Troy running back heading into the transfer portal. I don't know if he's dipping his toes in the water to see what's out there. But this is one of those things where kind of feels like someone's getting into his ear. Okay. And again, I don't know what his family situation is. I have no idea. All right. I'm not sure if Troy is offering anything. I have no idea. But this is where we are with Tae Meadows. All right. Tae Meadows averages 4.4 yards a carry. He's had 100-yard game. That was against Nichols, where he 186 yards. He finished 159 carries, 695 yards, 4.4 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. Did have 11 receptions for 64 yards, no touchdowns. This is one of those guys that could get hurt by the transfer portal. On paper, what stands out about Tae Meadows? All right. If we want to, compare that to a couple of guys from last year's stats, right? Ahmad Hardy, very different. Okay. Ahmad Hardy last year as a freshman, 1,351 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. All right. And then he upped it. Playing at Missouri, goes from Monroe to Missouri and gains 200 more yards on 4 more carries, 1,560 yards. Had 6.5 yards per carry and 16 touchdowns. All right. Ahmad Hardy had more than double the yard. Not more than double, almost double the yards that Tae Meadows had, 700 to 1350. All right. And then you go to Fluff Bothwell. All right. Also in the Sun Belt to the SEC. Fluff last year. Now, this is comparable, except one thing. Okay. Fluff was splitting carries. All right. Fluff only had 111 carries, 832 yards, but he averaged 7.5 yards a carry, and he scored 13 touchdowns. So he only has a few more yards than Tae Meadows, but he was splitting it and with Kentrell Bullock, and was one of the conference's leading touchdown guys. And so he got the bag from Mississippi State, got banged up a little bit this year. Hopefully he's okay and comes back. So I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping, all right? Well, I'm hoping that Tae Meadows gets paid. We'll just put that out there. I'm hoping he gets paid, whether it's at Troy or not. I'd like it to be at Troy. I'd like him to stay in the Sun Belt. But I'm hoping when the music does stop, he's got a place to go. All right. maybe someone's looking at those, Fluff Bothwell stats and saying, why can't you get that kind of money? Well, because Fluff had double the touchdowns on less carries and averages 3 more yards a carry. I'm hoping it works out, but it feels like someone is feeding him some info that may not be great. All right. So in the NFL, when you're thinking about going early to the NFL, you get scouting reports. All right. And, am I a first round pick? Am I a second or third round pick? Or am I, a third day pick, which is not very much guarantee. If you're a first or second day pick, maybe you go. All right. Certainly, if you're a first round pick or somewhere between the first and second round, you're probably going. Or if you're top 20 pick, you probably know that already. Let's see what happens with Tae Meadows. It'll be very interesting to see where he falls and where other running backs. I'm not sure where other running backs are going. I don't know if Cam Cook is heading. Know anything about Cam Cook? But that would seem to be the guy who would want to transfer. Let's see what his situation is. All right. Cam Cook is a junior. All right. I would think Cam Cook is coming out. I'm not sure why Cam Cook is going to transfer. Let me see what his size is. Cam Cook is 5'11", 195 pounds. So that's one guy who would, let me see what the draft process entails. And let me see where I am in college. Maybe he does get a 7-figure deal somewhere. And maybe they say you're going to be a first or second round pick. All right. Now, running backs aren't taken that high anymore. Usually. All right. Some are. And you want to get that clock going in the NFL as quickly as possible. I get it. All right. But he also may be able to make, you would think that Cam Cook could make 7 figures in college somewhere. So we'll see what Cam Cook does. All right. But that he would seem to be a ripe guy to go to the NFL and probably be a day 2 pick. Right. That would seem to be the case. So we shall see. All right. We do have, again, the Thursday episode with Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On Ducks. That is coming up tomorrow. All right. We talk about JMU and Oregon and what, JMU has to do. All right. JMU doesn't start off fast either, generally offensively or defensively. They got to be able to take the first punch. All right. Because if Oregon gets off to a big lead fast, it could be a long day. But if it's 10-3 JMU or 10-3 Oregon in the second quarter, and all of a sudden they realize they're in a ball game, it could be a little bit different because all the pressure's on Oregon. Not only because they're playing JMU, but because of last year and all that. So we go over that. We will wait for that ODU ball game to do at least that recap in a special episode. So we'll have 2 episodes on Thursday when I decide to post the ODU recap. Because the Cajuns game's late. That game's not going to end until midnight either. And I am working on Thursday. So we'll have to figure out how we're going to recap those bowl games. And then we'll have another preview on Friday for JMU and Oregon. All right. So we're looking forward to it. Really appreciate all the support. Again, we're having a record-setting month. It's the holidays. I'm heading home. I still can't believe I'm heading home during the JMU Oregon game. So we'll figure out, I don't know how I'm going to do that. The internet doesn't work very well on the airlines that I'm on, but I'm going to try to get it and see if I can watch it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. I'm going to see if I can get a quick lift in and then go to Orange Theory and enjoy another day off. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Have a good one, everybody.